It's so pretty.
So this is what it looks like from the inside.
We must be in a dimension that's separate from our reality.
This area appears to be free of Pandemonium's influence.
But it still has a firm grip on our world. This tower is responsible for creating Pandemonium and maintaining it.
All the more reason to climb to the top and tear this place down.
Van! What's wrong? Are you hurt?
I'm fine. This is just a sign that we're closing in on the root issue of this whole thing.
You're being so vague. Can't you just fill us in on what we're missing?
Sorry, but doing that would just muddy the waters. There's only one thing you need to know. The cause of all our problems, and the truth behind what's happening, is waiting for us up above. And I gotta get there, no matter what it takes. But I realize I can't do that alone. So please, give me a hand.
Did you just ask us for our help?
Our dead-obsessed leader is pleading for our aid? Huh! Hell must be freezing over.
For real? You're finally letting us repay what we owe you. I truly never thought I'd see the day.
I didn't either. It makes me so happy.
Me as well. I was beginning to believe I would never hear those words from you.
Too bad they come at a hefty price. You're gonna have to pay us back 1,000 times over.
You little... Fine. But I ain't settling for any more than double.
Don't worry. We're not asking for anything in return. But we do have one condition. We will give you a hand if you let us help you the entire way through. You have many wonderful friends in your corner, and powerful allies to call on. But you often throw caution to the wind all the same. Can you promise us that you won't do that this time?
Okay, it's a promise. But I want you all to remember that we ain't heroes of justice. There's no shame in turning tail if things go to shit. The fate of the world's important and all, but our lives are too. We ain't gonna throw them away. Know your limits, and don't worry about what's black or white. That's the Spriggan Creed, and we're gonna follow it like always. So, here's the plan. We're gonna kick Almata and the Garden's sorry asses. They may be back with a vengeance, but we've beaten them all once. We can do it again. After that, we're gonna settle the score with Melchior and Dantes, once and for all.
Right!
Why, hello there. We've been expecting you all.
Fate truly does take pleasure in bringing us together.
You're telling me she's a cruel mistress for it.
I'll say. Can't believe the sadist's back from the dead.
The 7th Genesis had to have been responsible for that, right?
I can see no other explanation. It must have been used in the realization of Pandemonium.
Yeah, probably. One minute we're dead, and the next we're in front of the boss and Melchior. I very much doubt I'm back for good, though. My existence here is likely temporary.
As for me, I was content with sitting in my cell, but I was whisked away regardless. I have no personal interest or emotional involvement in the realization of Pandemonium, but I will do as I am told.
Well, guess we're getting right down to business then.
If you're going to stand in our way, then we'll just have to force our way through.
I look forward to seeing you try, little girl. But I'm much more excited to see all of your bloody corpses sprawled out on the floor. And that will happen sooner than you think. Because with this new power, I can't lose.
Ishtanti, activate Dies Irae mode. You shall be embraced by wings of mercy, and laid to eternal rest in a garden of gold.
Here we go.
Be wary of the distance between yourselves and them.
You ain't putting us to sleep, Angel Girl. You're the ones who will be enjoying a nice long nap!
Ishtanti's output is decreasing. I don't understand. There's this emotion that's welling up from inside me. I think it's frustration.
Really? I'm glad you were able to recover that emotion. Rest well. I sincerely hope that one day you can begin to take even more steps forward.
That's wishful thinking, I'm afraid. I cannot imagine that day will ever come. Regardless, I will accept my defeat with grace. It's time I return to my shackles and live out my sentence.
It's a pity that she only regained some of her humanity at the end. She was even a little charming. Well, this is it. My time in this world is up. Frankly, I don't give a rat's ass about Melchior. But do take care of the boss for me, if you would. Consider that a request. From me to you.
What?
You're actually giving us a request?
That ain't necessary. I was planning on doing that anyway. I can guarantee that I'll get the job done, though. Least I can do for someone who's on their way out.
That's good enough for me, I suppose. Looking back, I led a shitty life. From start to finish. At least I had some fun at the end.
She didn't deserve the luxury of a peaceful death after all she did.
Sup? Glad you could make it.
If you're here, then I can only assume VIola and Olympia have fallen.
Well, this is just great. Do we really gotta deal with both of you at the same time?
So the old tin can got revived and the soldier busted out of prison.
Yes, unlike VIola, I was brought here from my cell by forces beyond my control. Be that as it may, I have been given another chance to achieve glory on the battlefield. And I shall do so by claiming your lives.
I suppose they aren't in a chatty mood.
Nope, though it's not like we'd be able to talk them down anyway.
You got that right, kiddo. Thanks to the fangs of Rahu, I lived way longer than any human should have. I was ready to accept the sweet kiss of death by the end of my run. But that don't mean I have to pass up one last shot at severing heads.
I too have long considered myself a walking corpse. I hoped that my defeat in the former capital would enlighten me to a new way of life, but alas, it did not. I'm sorry, but I must ask that you indulge my selfishness once more. Show me your strength.
Someone's eager for an ass-kicking, and I'm always happy to serve.
Same here. I'm not about to lose to a death-happy scumbag. I've also got an overly eager fan here who's straight from the light. And it's up to me to set him straight.
Good to see that fiery spirit hasn't faded one bit. Bring it on, lady!
The two of them excel in both physical strength and agility. They are formidable opponents indeed.
Maybe, but we'll take them down all the same. Both the front and back lines are gonna have to pull their weight on this one. We'll be counting on your support too, Master.
I'll do my best.
And I will do the same. Perhaps this is as good a chance as any, Aaron Way. Go ahead. Exact your revenge. Free yourself from the hatred that has consumed you for so long.
Nah, I'm good. You've got a whole lot more to answer for than what you did to my bros. I mean, you guys blew up an entire village. I'd rather you reflect on your actions and pay your dues by sitting your ass in jail.
I'm surprised to hear that. Your self-restraint is commendable. If only the young people back home. No, I'm sure they don't need that.
He was the last bodyguard of a prince, yeah? Guess the two of us weren't all that different. Though his home's still rebuilding itself, and if he's lucky, the guy can rebuild his future right alongside it. Well then, I think it's about time for me to mosey on over to the great beyond.
I'll be real with you. I was dreading the rematch with you more than anyone else. Your halberd's a force to be reckoned with, and you've had a long-ass time to train.
By the way, did you actually go to see one of my films?
Hell yeah, I did. I caught a showing of Golden Blood back in Arasion. It was a wild ride from start to finish. Had a pretty damn good leading lady, too. Loved every minute. Never liked having such a long lease on life, but seeing that might have made living all these long, unnecessary years worth it in the end.
There are so many good movies out there. And I'm not just talking about the ones I'm in. I hope you can see more of them someday.
Judith.
He seemed oddly satisfied.
Yeah, it caught me off guard, to be honest.
The guy may have been cruel to the bone, but I guess he had a bit of human in him after all.
Yeah, I know he did.
Both had their share of differences, but they were warriors, through and through. The fact that you all defeated both of them at once speaks volumes about your growth.
Sure hope so.
Welcome, friends. How good of you to come. You sure took your sweet, sweet time. What's wrong? Lost your sense of urgency now that the countdown has stopped?
Screw off.
I've been looking forward to beating your ass.
You're going to pay for everything you've done.
You've hurt everyone here to some extent. Reset and Fairy in particular.
Melchior is a criminal of the highest order. He and Dantes have done much evil, and will likely go on to do more if we do not stop them in their tracks.
I bet the destruction of Cray was your handiwork too. Even if you yourself didn't pull the trigger, you drafted the plan personally. Tell me, am I wrong?
So you've been going through that reporter's belongings, hmm? Well, you almost hit the bullseye. I didn't merely draft the plan. I dotted the I's and crossed every T. Only I could have envisioned such a marvelously devious scheme. Much to my delight, that wonderful little village was a rare model of racial harmony as well. The boss was beside himself with joy when I told him of my plan. We had to deliver results to our investors, and we did so by wiping Cray off the map.
You evil piece of...
You know full well that those investors wouldn't have expected you to go so far.
Oh, they most certainly did not. In fact, they were terrified beyond belief. Their reactions were utterly priceless. Eau Claire's in particular was gold. You should have seen him. He went as white as a sheet, and his voice was quavering like a little girl. I can hardly believe the famous Beauty's blade is his offspring. She's rather lucky she doesn't take after.
Shut up. In my line of business, I deal with so-called bad people on the regular. I don't discriminate, as long as they've got some sense of right and wrong. I'm willing to take work from Hayway, Jaegers, thugs, and hell, even the Society. My door's open to them all. Not you, though. You're a special kind of bad. You didn't just cross the line, you obliterated it. Then you and your boss continued on your merry way like nothing ever happened. I know the Oathbreaker is partly to blame for how you turned out since he abandoned you and all, but frankly, I don't give a single shit about that. All I care about now is sending your ass on a one-way trip to hell. I've heard enough of your goddamn voice. What do you say to a one-on-one brawl?
Huh?
Are you serious?
What an amusing proposition. I assume you're planning to rely on that Grendel of yours, no? But even with that tool at your disposal, defeating me alone is too great a task for an empty shell like you.
You son of a...
What does he mean by empty shell?
As I feared.
I may not be privy to the finer points of your relationship to the boss, but I stumbled upon a rather enlightening detail about that very subject. You were once held in one of the DG cult's lodges. Couple that with the knowledge that the boss was one of its high priests, and it's easy to imagine what exactly went down between you two.
He stabbed himself?
Wait! You aren't.
Oh, but I am. If you offer up your life within Pandemonium, you will be reborn as an undead.
This is eerily reminiscent of the Immortals and the Great Twilight.
So that is how Dante still lives.
Exactamundo!
What in the world are those markings?
It's just like the others that were resurrected. No, he might be even worse.
Indeed, their revivals were incomplete. Unlike them, I have become one with Pandemonium itself, so my power far surpasses theirs. Now then, it is time for the event of the century, the prelude to the end of everything as we know it. Before the world is devoured by darkness, I'll enjoy a most wondrous feast. I'm going to dine on your blood.
He's about to attack!
You are not taking a bite out of me!
You bastard! Don't let him get the upper hand! We're gonna trounce this psycho!
What's this? Don't tell me. The fun's over already.
Thank the goddess for that.
I trust you understand what happens when an undead has been vanquished?
Time for you to accept your fate.
Oh, but the party had only just gotten started. What a bummer. Oh well. The boss's plan will come to fruition all the same. He will make sure the whole world is engulfed in pandemonium. Perhaps you will spread it in his place.
What a ridiculous notion. Van would never do such a thing.
Exactly. Whatever happens, we'll overcome this ordeal together.
Yep, just like we always have.
Damn, guys.
How boring. This is no fun at all. Well, whatever. There's no telling what the future has in store. I hope it involves all of you suffering the most gruesome deaths imaginable. I want you all to succumb to fear and despair.
And I want you to shut up and go to hell already. Oh, and before you do, let me ask you one thing real quick. We got a message from someone by the name of C. Was that you?
Oh, I had nearly forgotten about that.
What on earth are you blathering about now? I didn't... Wait. See? I wonder...
What? You know something?
As if I tell you. I wouldn't want to spoil someone else's surprise, but I will say that it's not the boss. I'll let your imaginations run wild from there. Don't trouble your pretty little heads about it, though. After all, you'll be dead soon enough.
Creepy to the bitter end. Wouldn't shock me if he was only pretending to know the answer. You know, just to get a rise out of us.
You really think he would do that? Actually, that's a silly question. Of course he would.
It's very much in character for him.
Either way, we're gonna have to put a pin in the whole thing with C. Now that everyone's least favorite nutcase is down, all we gotta do is take out the mastermind. And once we've returned the city to normal, life will all go back to the way it was. We're almost at the finish line, gang. We just gotta make one last sprint to the end. I can see Mr. Prez sliding us a big, fat paycheck under the table after all's said and done. And that'll pay for all the suites and sauna trips we could ever want.
My dude, please get some new interests. I'm begging you.
Still, that sounds super fun.
It does, and I'm sure Dad will compensate us. After all, he did say we can consider this a job from him.
We're due a proper celebration when this comes to an end.
Agreed. I suggest we go all out, and aim to make our gathering the other day look modest by comparison.
Yeah, sounds like the perfect time to crack open some cold ones.
Oh, I didn't take you for a beer drinker. All the ones I know are old men.
I mean, we can all get some wine and champagne together.
But I'm a minor.
All right, time for the final stretch. We've got a Genesis to claim and a Dantes to thresh.
Right!
Hell yeah! Let's rock!
Isn't that the song from Tingo's recording?
That's right. It's called La Oraciones. It was a popular song during the Revolution a century ago.
I believe they once considered making it the official national anthem of Calvard.
Yeah, but they decided against it. They went with Swear on the White Cloves instead.
It is a song about the fall of the nobility and the rise of the people. In theory, an ideal fit for the freshly minted revolutionary government. Alas, there was a hint of a lingering fondness for the old kingdom in the lyrics. And they couldn't change them because the song was too well known at that point. So they went with a different tune.
We didn't come here for a history lesson, you prick.
Perhaps not, but I welcome you all the same, Arkwright. And I will extend my warmest greetings to your employees and your concierge. It's good to see you as well, Roaring Lion.
I have cast that name aside. You would do well to forget it.
The past is a matter of great import on this particular occasion, so I'm afraid I can't do that. And I can't forget yours either, Anya's Gramhar. You may hide under a false name, but you can't pull the wool over my eyes.
Right. That would be your real name, wouldn't it?
Guess I never really thought about it before.
Yes, I've been using my mother's maiden name ever since my father took up office. It's what our protection service recommended 2 years ago. I've just gotten used to it at this point.
I was caught off guard by your father's intervention in this affair, though I shouldn't have been surprised. He has always been a man of action. He's quick to conduct blackmail and other self-serving political decisions. That's part of why I believed there was room for negotiation between us, but that ship has sailed.
I'm sorry, what?
The President of the Republic would never cut a deal with a man who wiped out an entire village.
Especially when it's his people. My father wouldn't stoop to your level.
I wouldn't be so sure of that if I were you. I've heard rumors that he entered into an agreement with the Society. But let's put that aside. I shouldn't be driving a wedge between you and your father. Your relationship with him is fractured enough as it is. So we can leave it at that. Though I am curious as to how he merged the Epstein bloodline with his own.
Actually, he didn't really. Her grandmother was adopted, so she's not a blood relative of Epstein. You really like getting under people's skin, don't you, Dantes? Actually, what do we even call you now? Don Dantes? His Highness Prince Dantes? Or High Priest Dantes of the DG cult? While we're at it, let me ask you something else. Back in Erasion, it didn't seem like you knew for sure that I was your target. But that's changed now, hasn't it? Have you been waiting for me specifically all this time? Because from where I'm standing, it looks like all of this pandemonium nonsense was just a ploy to draw me in.
What? Really?
Your arrogance truly astounds me, boy. Bringing you here was merely one part of my grand scheme, not the focal point. My primary goal is, and always was, to create and spread pandemonium throughout the world. My ambitions lie beyond the ruined kingdom and the fallen cult. Even Almata was simply a means to an end. The day I stole this power from you, my very reason for being changed forever. I will expose the true form of this nation, as well as this continent. A world hinged on lies. And I will do so by taking the form of ultimate fear.
You're gonna do what now? Wait! Hold up.
What did you mean by the day I stole this power from you?
You saying you took something of Van's? What for?
No way. Is that what turned the capital into pandemonium? With the Genesis as its conduit?
Precisely. It all began 11 years ago, when I received a curious report from one of our lodges. They captured a boy who was born with a demonic element, and they were attempting to extract it by any means necessary. The members of the DG cult were out of their minds. Not that I'm in a position to judge, of course. But to them, no idea was taboo. Anything was fair game as long as it furthered their goal to reject the existence of the goddess. Nevertheless, the vast majority of their misbegotten schemes came up empty, but on occasion, they would happen upon a gold mine. And their crowning achievement was finding the diabolic core that resided in the boy. That core possessed unspeakable power. It had no place within this realm of existence. It was a forbidden fruit that was ripe for the taking. So naturally, I seized it. I told them to hand it over, and they couldn't very well refuse the request of Calvardian royalty and their high priest. Before that day, I had no dreams nor ambitions to speak of. I led a hollow existence. But the moment I laid eyes on that core, I instantly came alive. I was drawn to its radiant beauty, and I was sucked in by its blackened splendor. I welcomed it into my body, and then I was reborn. Eventually, the cult came under fire by the Society, and then it was nearly annihilated by a large-scale operation led by a famous bracer. But I avoided the fate that befell the cult. I escaped, using my newly acquired demonic power. After that, I began my life anew in the Mafia. I deceived Almata's witless leader with ease and put him to the sword. Then I gathered minions who would do my bidding, including Melchior, who hailed from the group that was birthed by my former abode.
Van, I had no idea those lost 7 years were filled with so much trauma.
You had a diabolic core inside you? What even is that?
You knew about this all along, didn't you?
Yes, I did. I assisted with the operation that eradicated the cult. During the mission, I chanced upon Van, who had miraculously survived, yet lost the will to live. I then treated his physical and mental wounds. 4 years later, our paths crossed once more, while he was wandering aimlessly after dropping out of school.
Bet you regret bumping into me after all the trouble I caused you from that point on.
You went through all that too, Van?
Huh? Too?
Sorry for not coming clean about this sooner, Catra. You ain't like me, though. You picked yourself back up and started a new life. You've even got a family, and a nice one at that.
You're right. I've got the Professor, Essie, and Yang, who have all helped me get back on my feet. And there are others in the Institute, Artisanal District, and Fern whose shoulders I can lean on. I have many people whom I treasure dearly. But isn't that the same for you? You have many loved ones in your life who will support you however they can.
Yeah. I'm thankful for all the people who have stuck by my side. And I should thank you for the long-winded exposition, Dantes. Say, have you ever considered a career in film? You'd make a half-decent narrator. You're letting those badass vocal cords go to waste. Why don't you ditch this Mafia gig and shoot for a big debut on the big screen? I'll even set you up with Gotti. Who knows? Maybe you'll land yourself a starring role in a sexy romance flick with Judith.
Oh, hell no!
Ridiculous. I can never return to an ordinary life in this world, nor do I have any desire to. All I want is for this meaningless chapter of existence to draw to a close. And I will write its end myself. Come forth, Apeiron!
What the hell is that?
That sword is covered in ominous miasma.
It's those glyphs again!
So you've become an undead too?
That can only mean one thing. You definitely perished that day in the palace.
Indeed. And of course, this is not the Empire's curse at work. In order to unleash the full breadth of the Diabolic Core's power, I had to cast aside the shackles of mortality. So I put my plan into motion. First, I burned Cray to the ground, so that I could set the stage for the game in Oracion. That village made for the perfect sacrificial lamb. And like a lamb to the slaughter, you, Arkwright, the owner of this core, heard my call, followed me into the city, and plunged your sword into my chest. Thanks to you, I have been reborn as an undead, and now I wield the power to use the Genesis to unfurl pandemonium throughout the land.
How could you? People's lives aren't just toys for you to play around with! You killed all those people and crushed their hopes and dreams for such a stupid, selfish reason?
I thought Melchior was the lowest of the low. But clearly I was wrong!
I'm sorry, Dantes.
What?
I'm guessing you weren't always quite this twisted. You lived a life bound by your birth, and after that, you were forced to rely on a cult of lunatics who you wanted nothing to do with. Then your luck went up in smoke, because you met me. The core inside me changed you forever. What happened to Cray, Dingo, and those who died in Arasion, and even Pandemonium itself, all comes back to one troublesome punk.
Van, that's not...
That's bullshit and you know it.
This isn't your fault, Van.
The world does not revolve around you, Van Arkwright. I have walked this path of my own free will, and every choice I've made has been mine, and mine alone. How dare you imply otherwise? I will not stand to be pitied by the likes of you. Once you finally breathe your last, the final factor will be unleashed. And then the diabolic core that dwells within me will become whole and return to its true form. At long last, you will finally be mine, empty husk.
Not if we have anything to say about it.
The crap that's coming out of your mouth is as dumb as your hair, asshole!
We cannot and will not overlook what you are saying about Mr. Arkwright.
You take those words back! I won't stand for you calling Van an empty husk. He's a wonderful human being. And he's someone who is dear to us all.
Now that I know you're beyond saving, I can take comfort in finishing you off one last time. And I'm not just doing that to get my core back. It's a Spriggan's job to take out power-hungry bastards when no one else can!
How amusing! I look forward to seeing you try!
Is he resonating with Mr. Arkwright?
So that is the diabolic core.
Looks like my theory proved true. The core will soon be made whole once again. Though I'm afraid my curiosity is getting the better of me. I think I will perform an early test run.
A malevolent god.
Just like the tyrant. No, this thing's on a whole other level.
What is this?
It's overwhelming is what it is.
Not bad. Not bad at all. If this is merely a taste of the power I will soon wield, I cannot wait to see what I can do once the core is whole. Even the Society's strongest enforcer will be nothing more than an ant at my feet.
Are you gonna call on the Grendel?
But Mara's not here to assist.
Oh, I don't think she's gone anywhere. She's probably just slacking off and taking a nap. Get your ass out of bed, Mare Bear! Stop being a lazy bum and do your damn job!
such a racket. And for the last stinking time, stop calling me Mare Bear.
Mare!
She woke up.
Oh, what are you talking about? I was awake this whole time. I've just been kinda out of it while I was repairing myself. So, that's what you're up against. You've come a long way.
Still can't remember who you really are, but I do know the role you've always fulfilled. So like I said earlier, I need you to do your damn job.
Sure, I can do that. But is that really what you want?
Yeah. It's exactly what I want.
Wait a moment. What are you doing?
Did you say roll? What does that mean?
Well then, Van. Will you wake from your dream? Or not?
Just what is she saying?
I will. I'll wake up.
Van, no! You can't!
These fragile chains guide me to this realm, where I am now made manifest. I am both the nightmare and the beast that devours it!
So pretty.
Van! No!
I see. It all makes sense now. Admittedly, I cannot tell whether this is resonance or gnosis at work, but either way, I'm quite surprised.
So that's what kind of drug that was. Interesting. Well, whatever. It's about time we wrap this up. I'm kinda curious to see which of us befits it the most. How about we go toe-to-toe and find out?
Very well. Have it your way. I will gladly devour both you and your restraints. You have sealed your fate, Van Arkwright.
Nah, you sealed yours when you stole my shit. And I'm about to take it back!
Did we do it?
No, not yet!
Van!
Thank goodness. It's finally over.
I was so close. Now that I have been parted from that monstrosity, I finally understand just how abominable it truly is.
I'll bet. No human should ever have this thing. But I'm not gonna apologize to you ever again.
Rightfully so. I have always acted in accordance to my own way of living. Just as you do. You may have won this fight, but my ultimate desire will still be realized by your hands.
What?
Oh no. I already know for a fact that Gehenna does not exist. But I'll still leave you with these parting words. I will be watching you from its depths, Van Arkwright. It won't be long until you become the living embodiment of fear itself.
Wait a second. What did he mean?
Van! Throw that damn thing away! Now!
Too late. I've got no choice but to return it to where it belongs.
vanished?
No. It simply returned to Mr. Arkwright.
Sorry to spring this on you, Agnes, but I'm not gonna be able to finish your request. Though I doubt you'll need me. With all of you on the case, you'll find the last Genesis in no time. Just to be safe, though, I did draw up a list of places I think it might be. Hope that'll help.
Van, wait!
Blue Demon Lord?
That's one of the 5 who leads the 77 Devils. Its name is Vagrant Diaspora.
Well, guess it's time for me to bounce. I'll leave the rest to you guys. Oh, and could someone do me a solid? Tell Elaine I'm sorry I can't buy her those drinks, like I promised. Take care of them for me, Master Barkhorn. I'm counting on you.
You damn son of a bitch!
No, don't go!
What just happened?
I'd like to know the same thing.
Wait, is that?
Mr. President? How long have you been there?
My apologies. This was meant to be a surprise for you all. I hope everyone is enjoying the festival. As I said before, let us make this a celebration to remember.
Yes, sir, Mr. President!
We love you, President Gramhart! Glory to Calvard!
I'm sorry, but I will ask that you keep your distance from the President.
Oh, thank goodness. You're all okay. You really did it. I wish I could have been there with you all, but... Wait. He did it again, didn't he? That idiot. He left us behind.
No, he hasn't left us. Not yet.
What do you mean?
His hollow setting screen.
Are you thinking of...
It's no good. It's not reacting. Fine, I'll do this then. Mare, please wake up. We need you. Oh!
What's...
have to tell us where Van's gone. Please, we're begging you. If you're here, that has to mean he's close by, right?
What?
Really?
That does make sense, actually. Van is the only one capable of calling the mayor normally.
All this time, she has been watching over him for some unknown reason. No, perhaps it's more accurate to say she's monitoring him.
So if she's still active, that means...
Yes, that's correct. He's still here in this dimension. However, he has already made his choice. He has decided to free himself of his restraints, or the Grendel as you call it, and accept the power that is rightfully his. Now a world-devouring demon lord lingers inside him. He chose to seal it away within the void, and himself with it.
Bastard!
How could he do that?
Okay, it's a promise. But I want you all to remember that we ain't heroes of justice. There's no shame in turning tail if things go to shit. The fate of the world's important and all, but our lives are too. We ain't gonna throw them away. Know your limits, and don't worry about what's black or white. That's the Spriggan Creed, and we're gonna follow it like always. And once we've returned the city to normal, life will all go back to the way it was. And that'll pay for all the sweets and sauna trips we could ever want.
Every word that came out of his mouth was a lie.
This is a flagrant violation of our contract. I will not stand for it.
I'm gonna punch him so hard! He's in for the pummeling of the century!
Easy, everyone.
I had an inkling about what he was trying to do. I suspected that he harbored guilt about remaining in this world. In the distant past, 5 demon lords were added to the 72 devils that resided in Gehenna. And it was at this moment when the world was rewritten. At least that is what I and the Church believe. Regardless, I can only imagine how he felt when he learned that he was one of those demon lords.
You mentioned that before.
You're making all this shit up. No way!
It's a closely guarded secret, even within the Church, but its veracity can be proved. It accounts for the discrepancies between the records from before the Great Collapse, which are kept in the primal grounds, and after. The being that resides within Van is called the Vagrant Demon Lord. The Book of Ezra describes it as a being that is imbued with the power of black time.
One of the Dominions told us of that book.
So that's Van's story.
However, I did not know of his true desire, nor did I see the depths of his despair. No man is an island. Every human must rely on others, and Van is no exception. But I see now that I did not make him realize as much, and that is my greatest failing as his master. So, I implore you, Mayor, grant them the opportunity to confront my fool of a student, so they may voice their complaints to him directly.
You're overwhelming me. Stop it. Okay, I'll help. Even if I really shouldn't, considering I'll at least give you a hint, though. Go to the place that he has the strongest emotional attachment to. You'll find him there. There isn't much time left before he's gone for good, so if you want to go after him, you'd better hurry.
You should go with him too.
Right.
him anywhere.
But if he's not here, then where the hell could he be?
Aramis? No. After all that's happened, I'm sure...
Could he be on the rooftop, perhaps? I remember him talking up there during the party. Is he partial to that spot at all?
That must be it!
Let's go, Agnes.
Right.